I know that this podcast is about you know, a largely little known band, and I'm not ultimately aware of them recording, and maybe that's why they've completely vanished. But I don't know.
No,
Do they
no,
record, or is that the thing? Is there maybe like something that was unearthed?
That's a sort of a question mark, to be confirmed kind of a situation. I mean,
Right.
I've received, so for those people that haven't been following along or don't know exactly where we're at, we're talking about a band called Creddy Pool that I've been investigating. I stumbled upon them on the internet, some conversations on some forums about this band, this alleged band from Seattle. That was around back in the day, and people were trying to figure out, hey, whatever happened to that band, So this kid had some tapes, and they were videotapes, and I got my hands on them, but I haven't been able to successfully transfer them yet because they're covered in dirt and mud. They were in his aunt's basement, discovered in a box. So, I've talked to some people that have heard of the band and are familiar with the band, but the actual, celluloid, material, any kind of actual recording so far have eluded me. So, it is odd because, like we were saying, Seattle seems to be so well documented. So many bands, did record. What happened to Creddy Pool? Why didn't they record? They had that. They kept having that brush with greatness. The 6 degrees of separation, but they never launched. They failed to execute.
I mean, I don't remember them that well. I kind of remember the singer dude. I don't remember his name.
Silas Marx.
Right. Okay. What I kind of remember from him was, well, this may not be a very popular thing to say, but who cares? I've never been known as someone who holds his tongue. So I seem to remember that guy as being kind of a dick and kind of having a lot of attitude and having, the thing about Seattle back then, like before all the major labels kind of, moved in en masse, when we were just a small, fairly insular scene, and everybody went to each other's shows and, we supported each other, we slept with each other's girlfriends, whatever.
As you do.
As you do. As we did, as I don't anymore.
No.
But, we were supportive, and there was humility. There was a sense of humility. Like, none of us were, in 84, 85, 86, we weren't really parenting around like rock stars, right? We were just like, we were grateful to be able to do what we were doing, and it was just cool and it was fun. And I kind of have memories of that Silas guy just kind of copping a rock star attitude, like,
prematurely.
Well, it's certainly premature if you're playing here and there and you haven't necessarily established yourself really as a major force in the scene. And it's certainly premature if you haven't even released a record. I mean, so many of us were, some of us were getting signed, but a lot of us were releasing our records by ourselves. And that's kind of what you had needed to do.
Right. If you had incentive and, you had the drive. When
I was doing CZ Records, very often the bands I would sign not just because I liked them as bands, but there was a number of bands that actually released their own, even if it was just a 45 first. And, part of my thinking was it showed a certain amount of initiative and it showed a certain amount of drive. And it also always made me think, okay, if you've done the work and sort of tried to sell it and try to distribute it, you have a certain appreciation for the work that we as a label have to do, that it's not just a piece of cake and you walk in. Again, you presume that through that experience, there'll be a certain amount of humility and, didn't always work.
Right.
But as a label, we did the best we could with what limited resources we had,